Summer 2024 of anime is over, and now that everything has aired, it's time for a final ranking. See my best, my rest, made by losing heroine Ribbon Crest. This summer season truly was a season of romance, and surprisingly, a good amount of good anime. I finished 25 anime this season, and median score for me was 7. So here is a refresher where everything landed after 3 episodes, a big spoiler warning, and let's get right into it, in alphabetical order. So here's a one show I picked on a good word of mouth. 2.5 Dimensional Seduction was a biggest surprise. If I had picked this up at the beginning of the season, I would have most likely dropped it after 3 episodes. But after hearing good things about it, I decided to give it a watch, and I was completely charmed by it. Follow Ririsa and Masamune and their journey through world of cosplay, just like a sports anime, with hints of romance and tons of great supportive side characters. Give it 5 episodes, I'd say. And if you're not impressed how other cosplayers treat Ririsa with care and love as she fumbles through her first real cosplay event, then it's not for you. But for me, that was enough to turn it from below average fanservice anime to a pretty excellent anime that shines a light in the world of cosplay. It did remind me a lot of Dress Up Darling, but only on surface level, as 2.5D Seduction delves a lot deeper in the world of cosplay. First core gets 7 out of 10, and the second core looks to be just as good, maybe even better. Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian was a defining summer anime in both good and bad. We have plenty of generic rom-com slop mixed with great teasing by Alya and an absolute Greamlin behavior by Yuki. It's alright, even if I didn't particularly like the overall narrative, but second season has been announced and I'm genuinely interested in Kuse's backstory. Solid rom-com that gets 7 out of 10. Atri, My Dear Moments, and Yuki Hanada proves once again that if you want to have your visual novel adapted, you know who to call. Based on the light novel of the same name, Atri was a great mix of romance, comedy, high-performance robot action, and both heavy-handed political themes and interesting philosophical questions about what makes a person. The main villain was the weakest part, but rest were varying degrees of good romance to excellent drama. 8 out of 10. Poor Dahlia in Bloom. I had this as my favorite isekai for this season, but unfortunately, it just didn't gel with me. Dahlia's and her nut-boyfriend Wolf's banter and interactions were the best part of the show, but even I did struggle to keep my interest for the whole season. There were also a lot of production issues and bizarre choices that I wish there could be a post-mortem on Dahlia's production. I won't say what issues, because once you see them, it can ruin the whole show for you. 5 out of 10. Days with My Stepsister though started as my pick for early anime of the season, and it stayed that way for the entire season. It has competition at the top, but strong cinematography, gripping story, and a serious look what a budding love between step-siblings who are both jaded and pragmatic to a fault could entail. Any anime that can have 2 characters just talk for 30 minutes straight in the same room, or just bunch of inner monologue and keep me at the edge of my seat is a shoo-in for an anime of the season. This is not the only anime this season that managed that, so look forward to those. 9.5 out of 10. So here is an anime that at last minute I binged and fell in love with. Dead Demons DeDeDeDe Destruction is a bleak look at humanity and how we treat illegal aliens and each other for personal gain and glory. DeDeDeDe takes a swing at radicalization, exploitation, and most importantly, hope, along with very unique character designs and lovable main characters, highlight being Ouran, who single-handedly took the Greamlin mantle from Yuki. DeDeDeDe is not subtle, and you might even roll your eyes in how blatant it is with his social commentary, but it works here, beautifully so. Still unsure? DeDeDeDe is an adaptation of a manga that has the same author as Good Night Pun Pun. 9.5 out of 10. Dungeon People was my feel-good anime of the season, even if it did remind me that its world is a cruel place. Closest thing to a Dungeon Keeper anime we will ever get, and it was fine for its entire runtime. 7 out of 10. Kengan Ashura Season 2 Part 2 aired, and it sure was an adaptation to one of my favorite martial arts manga. I think a problem for me was that I kept comparing the entire season to the manga, and I just couldn't enjoy it fully. Still worth watching, but I would recommend the manga 10 times out of 10. 6 out of 10. Love is Indivisible by Twins was the last anime I watched this season, and it sure was a love triangle with twins. It was messy melodrama, but at the end I just wanted to strangle our leads, and the pop culture references were only half the reason. Bazinga. I did like all the side characters though. 6 out of 10. Makeine Too Many Losing Heroines was the romantic comedy anime this season. Absolutely stellar animation with very lovable cast. Very unique look at what happens to all those poor anime girls that get rejected after 200 chapters of cock teasing. By far the easiest anime to recommend in this season, and outside of the beginning of episode 2, I have no problems with it. Any anime that has a dedicated animator for boob physics should be celebrated. 9.5 out of 10. And Makeine would have been my favorite comedy anime this season if not for... If I had a nickel for every anime girl this season that was both shy and timid and really into BL, I'd have 2 nickels. Mayonaka Punch delivers, and not just strong right-handers. Great look at what it takes to make content online with cast that rivals Makeine in both charm and emotional punches. BA Works once again delivered, and I was absolutely stunned by the finale. They fucking got me. Also, you need to take a look at Kadokawa's YouTube channel for extra Mayonaka Punch content. These short videos feel like Blu-ray specials, and I want to highlight this one with you. Watch it, you won't regret it. 9.5 out of 10. My dear friend Nokotan was one of the most hyped shows before the season, and unfortunately it did not live up to the hype. Don't take that the wrong way. I still had a good time, and I felt that latter half was really picking up steam, but not fast enough to land on my favorites this season. 6 out of 10. If I had a nickel for every anime airing this season that had existential questions about robots and what makes a person, I'd have 2 nickels. My 5 has no emotion sure left me emotionless. I really didn't vibe with this one, and was very close to dropping it, but managed to finish it. I didn't get attached to any of the characters, and there were better romance anime this season that occupied my hard drive. 5 out of 10. Oh, poor NareNare Cheer for you. For my anime of the season candidate to just good enough I guess, which is probably a rather controversial take. I actually really ended up liking the show against any common sense. NareNare was disjointed, it lacked a big overarching plot, and it had way too many characters to care about. Still, after all that, I still had a big grin on my face when it finally finished airing. Featuring perhaps one of my favorite onsen episodes, and the climax at the end of episode 9, Rain and Cheer, were one of my favorite moments of the entire season. 7 out of 10. No Longer Allowed in Another World did the same as 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, as after 4th episode aired, we finally got to some good stuff. Very unique take on the whole isekai genre, and a really uplifting message at the end of the day, even with all the suicide jokes. Unfortunately, it ends rather non-conclusively, and it really needs a second season to fully explore its themes. Still, by default, it's my favorite isekai of the season. 7 out of 10. Pseudo Harem kept on trucking, and it had almost everything a good rom-com should have. Our leads carried the show, and it was just a good old sweet time. Not my favorite romance this season, but definitely worth checking out. 8 out of 10. Quality assurance in Another World kept eluding me, as I did get invested few times, but then it just became just another fantasy show with an admittedly and unique gimmick. It doesn't help that it shared a lot of same space in my brain as Dungeon People, and I kept comparing those two. The season finished, but the story is definitely not done, and I left with a sour taste in my mouth. Not for me. 6 out of 10. Sakuna of Rise and Ruin started okay and kept showing flashes of brilliance, but too little, too late. The emotional climax of the story was great, but journey there was middling at best. I might have appreciated it more if I had played the game. I have to give it some credit, as without experiencing the game, I can see how the actual game would progress. 6 out of 10. Senpais and Otokonoko kept hovering between "this is amazing" to that was okay I guess. Don't let that last part fool you. The final stretch was absolutely amazing, and Ruichi should be in the running for the best boy of the season. It ended beautifully, and there is a movie coming up that hopefully ties all the loose ends. If you're looking for a love triangle but can't deal with twins melodrama, then Senpais and Otokonoko is a perfect fit for you. 9 out of 10. Shoshimin How to Become Ordinary started out strong and ended even stronger. Possibly the best directed anime this season, and I was glued to my screen most of the time. I can't believe I got invested in how someone made hot cocoa or who ate the spicy sweets for 30 minutes. I have to highlight the last 2 episodes, since it should always be commended when a show manages to make 2 characters talking in the same room engaging. I might appreciate this more on a rewatch, and we already have second season confirmed. 9 out of 10. The Elusive Samurai was my Shonen Jump adaptation of the season, and I think that tells you everything. It has the same shonen trappings, such as hit and miss humor and incomplete story, but it, along with Makeine, was consistently the best animated show this season, and I'm looking forward for the second season. 7 out of 10. The Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant used to be Archenemies was a joy to watch. I said in my preview that it was just 10 minutes of sugar injected straight into my veins, and that was all it needed to be. A wonderful adaptation and a great way to honor the late author Kokoa Fujiwara, who was taken from us way too soon. 8 out of 10. VTuber Legend, how I went viral after forgetting to turn off my stream, was my second favorite comedy this season, and while it didn't do anything groundbreaking, it was consistently good Gremlin behavior with a dash of bait. If you are into VTubers, then this is a must watch, and for everyone else, you can definitely find something to enjoy here, even if the quality of the joke varies from episode to episode. 8 out of 10. Wistoria Wand and Sword, and oof, I knew I wasn't going to like this, but I powered through the season and honestly that's on me. Outside of the beautiful animation and directing, I didn't get attached to anything. Most surprising thing was the nipples, but everything else was just generic shonen action story. I doubt I'll be watching the second season. 5 out of 10. Legend is strong, and talk about Yatagarasu, the Raven does not choose his master, which was this perfect blend of fantasy, suspense and mystery mixed with compelling characters. Much like Days with My Stepsister and Shoshimin, Yatagarasu managed to keep me on the edge of my seat when characters were just talking. I'd say episodes 11 through 13 were overall one of my favorite moments all year, and it is worth checking out just for those 3 episodes when all the mysteries begin to unravel. The latter half for me was not as strong as the first, but it was still great with a great piece of world building. Take the bird home and give Yatagarasu a chance. 9.5 out of 10. So here is the final tally, and it's hard for me to pick my anime of the season. I didn't rate anything 10 out of 10, but I intend to rewatch all of these 9.5s before end of the year, and see if any of them are in the running for my anime of the year. Overall, summer 2024 was a great season, and I'd be surprised if you don't find anything here that piques your interest. Then again, fall 2024 has been just as great and perhaps even better, even if I don't keep up with that many shows compared to summer 2024. Speaking of fall 2024, the next video is probably going to be the fall 2024 preview, and I'm waiting for everything to air the 3rd episode to really give my early impressions. I might even wait for Uzumaki's 4th episode, just because I can give a full review of it then. The next video after that is my Whitehall Whale, and I promise that sports is coming. Thank you for watching and see you next time.